Hey everyone, here we are again on the Spinster Sisters.
Hey.
I'm Terri, the oldest and wisest.
And I'm Mandy, the youngest and prettiest.
Oh, all right.
Oh.
I think you say like the smallest and meekest. And I'm like, no,
I was
you're
also
not.
going to say funniest.
Yeah, all of these things are wrong, but that's okay.
The only thing that's right about you is that you're older, even though no one realizes it.
Mandy gets really annoyed because everyone has to ask us which one's older or younger, and Mandy really doesn't like that at all.
Nope. It's 2 years, but still the
It's
worst.
like 2.5, let's be honest.
Okay, I will punch you straight in the face.
It's our first episode since like much of New England has dropped a lot of the mask and social distancing mandates.
Now we can go make out with everyone.
Oh my God, I can't wait. Stop random people on the streets. But things are opening up. It's exciting times, right, Mandy? Mm-hmm. We have like the unofficial start to the summer.
Can we really ask for anything more, Terri?
We can't, but I'm sure we will, you know?
Yeah.
And as you know, we're finally introducing everyone to Mary and Jack today.
So excited.
We had a nice recording session while we were up in Maine. You'll hear more about that when we get to the interview, but we had a really lovely time.
It was beautiful weather and some QT. That's quality time, Terri.
Thank you.
With the parental unit. So it was absolutely lovely.
I'll say we are obsessed with Bar Harbor now, right?
That's accurate. What's the name of the mountain there?
Cadillac Mountain.
Yeah, thank you. Outstanding views from up there.
Unbelievable.
Unbelievable.
Breathtaking up there in Acadia National Park.
Amen, sister.
Yep, at the summit there of Cadillac Mountain. We ate lobster.
We had lobster. Terri didn't have as much lobster as we had expected. Terri and I like to make fake bets with each other. No one wins anything. It's just fun. So we did an over-under of how much lobster she'd have up in
How many times I'd order lobster?
So the over-under was set at 3, I think. Terri, and I took the over, obviously, because Terri was talking about how much lobster she was going to eat up there. 2.
I know. I really disappointed everyone.
I mean, I don't even know who you are.
You know, only twice. Oh, it's all right.
Loser.
At Acadia, remember Neil?
Who could forget Neil, Terri?
Oh my gosh. Yeah, Neil was the best.
Neil was just such a great tour guide.
He was. We downloaded this app, which had a self-guided driving tour around the park, right? Mm-hmm. And we had this wonderful narrator, and we named him Neil.
Obviously.
We don't know what his name was. It just seemed right.
Terri, his name was Neil.
Okay, but it didn't just feel right?
Yes, it was like, Neil, what turn should we take next? And then perhaps you tell us a little bit more about the place that we're driving by right now.
Totally. I mean, he was super knowledgeable about the area and the history and like pointing out all the attractions and stuff.
I mean, that man just knew his
and
stuff.
he had a really nice voice.
He sounded like such a sweet gentleman.
He sounded like a nice guy.
Yeah.
And then remember we got the competing driving instructions from Neil and Mary.
That was definitely not a tense ride up.
No. And we made the wrong choice by listening to Mary. It sort of derailed us a little bit on our tour because it brought us up to the summit of Cadillac Mountain much earlier than Neil wanted us to go up.
Neil was like, guys, can you maybe listen to me for a second?
If we had just listened to Neil. That harbor cruise, Mandy.
Oh, it was beautiful. Everyone was freezing, I think.
Oh, it was freezing out there.
And it was perfect for me. I was like, Terri, we're sitting on the top. Mandy wants the top.
No,
I get the top bunk. It was like 50 degrees, I'd say.
Blustery out on the water.
Yeah,
and Frenchman's Bay is no like, still water sort of. These are like choppy waters.
Yeah,
and a lot of wind.
A lot of wind. So Terri was freezing and was wearing literally like a scarf.
I looked like the Unabomber.
Yes, you did.
I had a hood, my big black sunglasses, my trucker hat, and like the green almost trucker jacket. I totally looked like the
You
Unabomber,
really did.
yeah.
And
I was freezing my ass off.
You were. And I was like in a tank top.
Oh, and that's where we decided that you are going to just move up to Maine and live in a lighthouse with King, and that's going to be your job.
It's going to be the greatest thing. And not necessarily Maine. Any lighthouse will be fine. I would love to just be on a lighthouse, not have to speak to human beings, and just live out my days just there, like guiding ships, saying, hey, ships, we got land ho coming up here. I mean, I can't imagine how much fun I would have. Like, I gotta entertain myself a little bit. So like blinking or something. I don't even know. Blinking might actually be what they need for some. I'm sure there's
I'm sure there's science to it.
Absolutely. And I'm sure there's probably some kind of training. Maybe they have
right.
like a video training on Zoom.
Do you want to run this lighthouse to make sure that no ships run afoul? I have to admit that it would probably be a very good professional fit for you.
Oh, without a shadow of a doubt. I mean, with my social awkwardness and inability to find words, I wouldn't need to speak. All I have to do is run a lighthouse.
So also during this trip, we were encouraging you to go flirt with the front desk guy because first of all, at first glance, we thought he was sort of cute. And then our parents' room was right off of the front desk area and we needed some information about something. So we were like, no, Mandy, you need to go out and talk to the dude at the front desk.
And I was like, fine. I mean, everyone wants a piece of Mandy, so this will be easy flirting, even though I have literally no game. So I go out there. The guy is on the phone, and he was on the phone for God knows how long.
It was like 10, 15 minutes anyway, where he didn't acknowledge you.
I was standing there, and I kept like walking around picking up different like brochures and stuff. They're like, so what'd you find out? I'm like, not a damn thing.
You were gone for 15 minutes and I assumed that like maybe you had a date or something. You came back, we're like, so what did he tell you? You're like, yeah, I didn't even speak one word to him. So that was a short-lived fling. I had some plans over the weekend and I saw Diane.
Yes, Diane.
Diane out in Worcester. You know, I knew that she had adopted a new little rescue dog.
Oh,
Barnaby. And he looked so cute on Facebook and I'd seen pictures and I knew she was like, she's in love with this little guy and I couldn't wait to meet him. I mean, he's a tiny little Maltese, probably like 8 to 10 pounds. She gave me a heads up on my way over. Like he has some stranger anxiety.
Okay.
And just, he has stranger anxiety. So I'm going to meet you at the door. Don't knock or anything. And, you know, we'll be chill. I didn't know he was also like the devil incarnate.
The spawn of Satan.
This little Maltese. I was terrified. I spent the night over there. And so starting at night and into the next morning, if I stood up or walked or spoke or looked at him or Diane or did anything, he was at my feet like growling and barking at me and trying to jump on me. And he would have bit me if he had any teeth, but he didn't. He had like 2 teeth in the back of his mouth.
Well, thank God he was toothless. Terry's telling me this story. And then I'm like, what kind of dog is he? And she's like, a Maltese. I'm like, a Maltese, yeah. You were that afraid of?
No, I felt like I was on a TV show, like I was being set up because it was so ridiculous. It was so terrifying and hysterical at the same time. And I'm like, he's tiny. He's like, you know, comes up like a few inches past my ankle. Like obviously he's not going to really do that much damage, but he was freaking scary. I have to say this, like it's sad because he was out on the streets and he was a rescue dog and you know what? He's going to be fine and he's got a loving home and Diane and him are a great match and it's going to be wonderful after some time and he's getting adjusted. It's just right now it's this adjustment time. He was freaking terrifying. This dog was so scary.
Didn't you say that like Diane had to put him up in her room and shut the...
Oh my God. And so because he was so threatening and intimidating when we were downstairs and like we couldn't even have a conversation because he was just growling and sneering at me and baring his teeth and just trying to like scare me. So she'd have to put him upstairs and behind the door. And man, it was like exorcist chick was upstairs in the room. Like he was kept banging the door. It was just like banging in its door frame, like bang, bang, bang. And,
oh my God.
And he was wailing and screaming behind the door, not barking. He sounded like a banshee.
Oh.
He sounded like a banshee or like an old lady shrieking.
Clearly you were going to kill Diane.
He was like, I mean, he had so much anxiety, the poor thing. He's going to be fine.
On that note, Diane, it's fantastic that you adopted.
Yep, you're giving him a great loving home. And also this weekend, I visited Dave and Julie and got to see their 2 little boys. And
that are just the cutest things.
Stop it. They're getting so big. They're so adorable. But really, for the purposes of today's shows, I bring this up because really what's important here is I couldn't believe Julie's collection of Waterloo seltzer.
She's my girl.
Dude, she brought me to the laundry room where she had 8 cases.
Stocked up
at 8 cases. And that's just the normal, that's not for a party. That's just that's the normal stash that she's got going on. It was like Mecca. It was like the promised land of Waterloo.
Was there grape Waterloo?
No, that's the thing, kid. They had every flavor except your favorite.
Well,
she'll try it. She'll be ordering that next, I'm sure.
And I can't wait to hear her thoughts on it.
Yes, she'll give us some feedback.
If she doesn't like it, then she's wrong.
Hey, everyone. We are officially in postseason hockey time. And Mandy, want to give us a Bruins update?
Yeah, bees. Side note, Terri doesn't watch hockey with me normally because as we've discussed, I have to record the shows.
I don't watch the long regular season.
Right.
I watch postseason hockey, though. It's very exciting.
And it's actually been nice to watch it with Terri because it's someone that I can talk to and be like, Terri, did you see that? That was a sniper shot, like nonstop. Get out of the crease. Yeah, get out of the crease. Dude, that was offside. Like it's nonstop. And so it's good to have someone to talk to, whether or not she knows what I'm talking about. I don't really care. It's just someone there.
I don't usually, but sometimes I do.
No, she doesn't have a clue. Like I'll try to explain something and she's like, I just don't care. But that's fine. So the Bees, Terry, are now in the second round of the playoffs against the Islanders. But let's go back to the first round where Alex Ovechkin, the POS, knocked out 4-1. Bees smoked him.
Screw that Ovechkin.
That Ovechkin. I'm telling you, people, I'm not knocking his skills. Like, the man is an outstanding forward, but he's dirty, man.
Do we explain to a lot of the listeners here who may not know anything about this first round that he plays for the Washington Capitals?
Oh, yes, my mistake. I mean, why would people not know that? So now they're on to the Islanders. They won the first game. Pasternak.
He's en fuego.
He's en fuego, had himself a hat trick. It was the first full capacity garden, and there were so many hats like thrown on the ice. Terri was sitting there. She's like, wait, are they throwing their own hats on the ice? I'm like, yes. Did they get them back? No,
I knew they didn't get them back, but I was like, dude, what if you had your favorite hat? You're going to throw that on the ice?
And so Terri said that she's going to plan ahead and like carry an extra cap.
Some extra cap that I don't care about.
Yeah.
When I go to my next Bruins game, which will probably be in like 20 years or something.
Probably.
But when I go, I'm going to be prepared, not with my favorite hat.
Nope. No, you'll wear your favorite hat and have some crap hat in your pocket. That's actually genius. But I would also like to discuss Kevin Miller is on the IR. Terri, that's injured reserve.
Oh.
Okay. And that's a big one because he's an outstanding defenseman for the Bruins and has a lot of size. Now the Bruins just have 5 regular, but
All right, so now we're in the second round.
Now we're in the second round.
One game in.
We're 1 game in.
All right, when's the next game? When's game
Tonight.
2? Tonight,
7:30, people.
All right. Mandy, thank you for that recap.
You're welcome.
Rooting for the Bruins.
Yep.
So we're going to meet our parents in just a second. I was thinking about this as I was visiting them this weekend too. Mm-hmm. You know what's really funny about Mary and Jack?
Everything.
I do wonder if this happens with other people's parents. It might, but I'm pretty sure it's just ours. They always act really bewildered and impressed when we do like really mundane, basic things.
They do.
Have you noticed that?
I have, absolutely.
It's like really endearing. And it's sometimes infuriating, but really funny. And like, for instance, I realized this as I was pulling in. Like, Jack will be very interested in knowing where we found a parking spot every time we go there.
Yes, every time.
We're never going to be that far from the main entrance where we park, ever.
Never, ever. But the fact that we can get a spot.
He's always like really wants to know where we were, and there's plenty of parking spots, people. Okay, it's really not ever an issue of us not finding parking. No. That's what's so funny about it. It's like, yeah, we park down there like we always do.
Oh, Jack.
And one of my favorites is they are even more confused when we show up and knock on the door without them buzzing us up. They've lived there for probably 7 or 8 years now, and every time we get up to the door and we knock without them letting us in, they open. They're like, how did you get up? And we're always like, yet again, someone was either exiting or entering the building and they just let us come in.
And they're like, oh, wow. It's like, yeah, we don't have some magic door to come into. This is just what happens all the time.
They're always impressed when we know how to use their fob too, when they give us the fob to go in and out to do something.
Yeah,
and we get back in, they're like really concerned that we don't know how to wave the fob in front of the reader.
Are you sure you can do this? You got it? You got it? Okay. And then we come in and they're like, okay, so it worked okay? Yes, Mom and Dad, it worked just fine. I can think of with Mom specifically, like when I was just down in Provincetown and another time I went to Vermont with just King, she was always like, okay, well, I mean, what are you going to do up there? I'm like, I don't know. I'll find so I'll go on some trails or something. Well, okay. Like, you're going to do that by yourself? Yes, Mom. I mean, it kind of goes back to the fact that I'd love to be in a lighthouse.
Right.
Yeah.
So we go back. Yeah, that's the theme. Mm-hmm. It's funny. And it's a little sad because I do wonder if it's just they have zero expectations for us and the bar is so low.
Yeah, it's like, okay, if that's exciting for you and that's an accomplishment that we can get in the door with the fob.
And if I ever find a common sense solution to a problem or an issue, they are like super impressed.
Oh,
and
gosh.
It's probably because you never do that.
Well, because I don't have common sense.
Right.
However, I am the IT specialist for the entire family.
Actually, you look like a genius when it comes to the iPhones and helping them out with that stuff.
Even their computer.
Yeah.
Like, I can't find Microsoft Office. Okay. Did you try searching for it? Oh. And then, well, now it says this. Yep. Click on that. Just go ahead and click on it. And, oh, Mandy, you're such a genius. I'm like, thanks, Mom and Daddy. I really appreciate that, but I'm not.
The icons on the iPhone will be like, yeah, just touch that. Just touch that. It's all right. You can touch it.
It's not going to break. Just go ahead and touch it. That said, we did teach Jack how to subscribe to our podcast.
Oh, that's totally true.
Yes.
82 years old. He's subscribing to our podcast now.
Yep. He's all over.
And we, of course, gave ourselves a rating there. We didn't actually. We gave ourselves 5 stars from our father. We did not actually write up a review.
No, we did not. We gave ourselves 5 stars, and then he's all self-praise is no praise. I'm like, we don't, just praise us then. You do it. Like, would you not give?
We're waiting for you.
Yeah. Would you not give us 5 stars anyway? Like, just asking.
He's like, I don't have to think about it. I mean, like 2.5, 3. I mean, you've got some room for improvement, but I know that you can get there.
Oh,
Lord,
Jack.
well, God love him.
Yep. And Mary, God love her.
God love them, I said. God love them.
Oh, I thought you meant him. No. Shut up.
Okay, without further ado, we're going to let you have a listen to our parents, Mary and Jack. We'll catch you on the flip side.
Drum roll, please. What's up, Mary and Jack? Where are we right now?
I'm here.
Bahaba.
That's right.
The funniest part here is just getting our parents to use the equipment that we're using to record the podcast. This, if you could see this, is comic gold. Oh. You got Mary and Jack at the foot of the bed in the hotel room, patiently listening to our instruction and using podcast equipment, and it's actually great. They've got a sound mixer and they've got a proper mic. What do you think, Mom? Do you feel like a professional using this microphone?
It's a challenge, but I'm up to it.
You are always up for a challenge, Ma, aren't you?
Absolutely.
It's a challenge to me because I'm afraid you might hit me over the head with that mic.
I think she's aiming to do that at some point in the next few minutes.
One of these minutes.
Hey, what did you guys think about that boat ride yesterday?
It was great. I thought it was very, very scenic, and I enjoyed it out there. Wasn't too cold.
Our father gets cold easily.
Okay, so my mother and I, this is Mandy, run hot. My sister and my dad run cold. We had to put the heat on in the RAV4 to like 90 so that my dad would be comfortable. I was like drenched in sweat in the back seat. Anywho, what else did you find nice about the boat ride?
One thing that wasn't so great was that it was very choppy. Very, very choppy. We had to turn around.
They had to divert from their original route.
Yeah, so we wouldn't crash into the cliffs and the rocks.
Sissy,
Hey,
I
Daddy.
thought it was great because I had my sea legs. I remember them. You just walk like Popeye.
But yeah, some rough seas, but it's been beautiful up here, huh? In Bar Harbor. None of us have been here. We really spent time here, correct?
My understanding is much better here than it was in Boston.
Weather-wise, you mean, Ma?
Weather-wise, of course.
Would you agree, Father?
About what?
This is what we've been
This
dealing
is normal.
with.
Yes, dear.
We're all here recording a podcast, Daddy. What's your favorite meal, Ben, so far that we've had in over our 3 to 4 days in Bar Harbor?
In Bahaba, all of it was good. But probably the best thing I'm going to have is on the way home. There's a sandwich left over. A tuna salad that Mom just says throw it away. I'm not throwing it away. I'm going to eat it on the way home.
We may have to throw it out before he realizes it, but he's not going to
Keep
eat
your
it.
hands off it.
What did you think of that walk we had today?
It was nice. It was very nice along there. Very scenic. Again, and the weather was great. We've been very lucky.
It's very windy today. And when we walked on that walk that was all of 5 feet wide, I was afraid somebody was going to fall off the edge.
Mary was a nervous wreck
Was a
during
challenge.
that walk, people. You don't even know.
I'm going to go back, if you would, to that sandwich, the tuna sandwich.
Okay.
And I still remember one time when your grandmother and I, when I was about 7 years old, it was right at the end of World War II, all food was rationed at the time. But I was sitting in the kitchen and there was some fish in front of me. And my mother said to me, "Are you going to eat that?" And I says, "No, I hate fish." And she said to me, "If you don't eat the fish, you're not going to get any dessert." And I said, "Why?" She says, "Do you know there are people, children starving in different parts of the world right now?" And I said, "Ma, why don't you put it in an envelope and send it to them?" And my mother, that's one of the few times I seen her, she walked out of the kitchen. She was laughing so hard.
This is why we don't throw away food.
That's right. You're not going to eat that tuna fish.
You're not going to eat the tuna fish. Okay, so yes, our mother was losing it on this walk along the ledge.
Nervous Nelly.
It was killing me because it was like, Mandy, can you just come in closer? Like, I'm trying to take a nice, gorgeous picture of us. Like, oh, Mandy, you're get away from there. It's making me nervous. I'm like, Ma, I'm not a toddler anymore. We've grown up past toddlerhood.
People
But
fall off cliffs. In the Grand Canyon, people fall off the edge.
I don't think it happens that often, but maybe
Some of them get pushed off.
I could have pushed Terri off, but I didn't, Ma.
we appreciate your restraint on that one. What would you have done if you lost your number one daughter? If your number two daughter pushed her off the cliff?
I don't know. We'd have to get the keys to the car.
We'd have to sit in the courtroom for a while.
That could get messy.
If it was just us as witnesses, no one can break us.
What are your thoughts about this podcast?
Which podcast? This one?
This is in
Our
general.
podcast.
Oh, it's been
Our-
pretty good so far. You know, even right now, being here with 3 women is tough. You must pray for me, all of you listening, because I'm surrounded by 3 women. And if any guys listening, you must understand what I'm talking about. Because when 3 women are together, they all talk at the same time. And they all know what the others are saying. I don't know how they do it. The most common sentence I'm using now is, yes, dear.
Wise man.
So did you ever believe, in however many years you've been on this earth, between the two of yous, did you ever really believe that we'd come up with a podcast? Did you ever think it was really going to happen?
No, I'm impressed. I am impressed. You used the futility and all of COVID and came up with something creative.
Is it because your expectations of us are so low that you were so impressed with this
No,
podcast?
I have very high expectations of the two of you that you don't
and
meet
we've
very
disappointed
often.
you.
What are you
Over
talking
and
about?
over
I don't
again.
even know what a podcast is.
Well, you're on one right now, so welcome.
How much are we going to get paid for this interview?
We make so much money on this podcast. Don't worry, we'll spread the wealth.
Okay, we want 30%.
That's fair.
30% is $0 is about 0. That's okay?
Is that what the math is?
Also typical of Jack. He thinks we aren't speaking loud enough, and will often make us yell to be heard. And it's all right. Mandy's going to lose this
You
bet.
tell her to speak up.
Jack.
Yes, I
Jack.
can hear you now.
Okay, we placed a bet on how many lobsters Terri would eat whilst in Maine, in Bahama, to be
Bahama, yeah.
precise. The over-under was set at 3. I took the over. I'm going to lose. She's only at 2.
Not for lack of trying. I could get one more in tomorrow. I know it. We'll try to do 2 in the next. No, it's not going to happen.
Oh,
No, try to get Mary to order a soup with her today.
Mandy's like, Mom, if you get a lobster appetizer with Terri today, that counts as 1 for Terri. So please do it.
What has been your favorite restaurant thus far?
I liked the chat room. We ate outside right at the shore. And Terri and I had delicious lobster roll. No, did you have lobster roll? You had
Lobster salad.
lobster salad, and I had the lobster roll, and it was the best.
Agree.
That was a score. Win 1 for Mary.
Yeah,
And-
because I found it in the AAA book, and everybody thinks AAA is bought by these restaurants and hotels, and
Mary
maybe
stands
they
fir-
are.
Mary
Maybe they
stands
are,
firm
but
by
my
the AAA
answer is
recommendations.
AAA has to uphold its reputation.
I have a question. Did you enjoy our drive through Acadia National Park?
that was wonderful.
beautiful,
Awful lot
right?
to see. Quite a bit to see. The only problem that I had up there, there aren't enough comfort stations.
No, there are not.
Jack, would you like to tell the listeners what a comfort station is?
Yeah.
It's a loo is a word for a comfort station they use in England.
Yeah, we got the audio tour guide. Terri and I were in the front seat, and clearly we were not stressed out trying to figure out any of how to get anywhere on it. And we ended up taking another highway, which wasn't even part of the park. But we
It's
eventually
next to impossible to screw up from the park loop. It's next to impossible to mess that up, but we did it.
But we did it.
because again, it's a loop.
But by accident, we found a lot of beautiful spots.
Yes, mother.
We
You're
found
right.
the Petite Tetons
Mom thought they looked like the petite Tetons.
as opposed to the Grand
Le
Tetons.
Grand Tetons.
The comfort stations were well cared for.
That was all that Daddy got out of it. Yeah, anyone who wants to visit Acadia know that the comfort zones are well taken care of.
Plentiful and clean.
Federal tax dollars at work.
I'm a federal employee.
I know.
So you guys have been very accommodating for Mandy's obsession and need to watch the Bruins playoff games during this vacation. We're going to be doing that again tonight.
Washington wants back in, man. They want back in.
I say shades of 1970 and 1972. And they'll win this year.
That's my girl.
Great thoughts. You think, is it the team that looks like that or just the energy, or what do you think?
Both.
Have you been following the Bruins throughout the season?
Somewhat.
That's all right. As long as you feel it. You feel it in your bones.
I'm not really into it that much. Anything. I don't pay that much attention to sports because I've told you before that when I was working as a telephone man at the Boston Garden, Bobby Orr used to come walking in and holler over, "Hey, Jack, is it okay if I use the telephone to call home?" Now, that was way back in the days when it cost a few bucks to call Canada.
Oh,
and I'd just say to him, "Go ahead, Bobby." So I don't really pay too much attention to sports because I don't have any heroes. I never did have after meeting them and associating with them. Even I played at the Patriots games too when they first started, playing at Braves Field.
What about when you were a kid? Did you have any sports, like baseball guys that you liked when, like in the 40s, 50s? Any baseball legends?
Ted Williams.
Ah, of course.
All the
Oh,
kids.
yeah.
Mom, did you have a
Best
favorite?
hitter that ever lived.
Well, the best hitter that ever lived is going to be you if you whack me with that microphone one more time.
I really hope she does. That'll be money. Our mother's a big Red Sox fan. Who is
Used to be more than now.
Ma was just telling us today that she used to have a crush on Carlton Fisk.
Oh, yes.
I did, yeah.
We learned all sorts of crushes our mother used to have. We won't embarrass you right now, Daddy, though, but we know things. We know things.
What?
We had a chat over lunch, the ladies. While you took a nap, we chatted about Mom's former crushes.
I'm having a hard time hearing
Good.
you.
You
All
don't
right,
want to
so-
hear any of this.
Because I want more than $87 for this interview.
Okay, I don't know if we could promise you that, but that's all right.
Yeah.
Yes, dear.
So we have a couple non-Bahaba questions related to your daughters that are the Spinster sisters. First question, who is your favorite daughter? Go.
Molly.
Oh, well played.
That's Jack saying Molly, their new dog that they just rescued, who's, God bless her, she's 13. Oh.
14 almost.
Who is the funnier daughter?
Why do you have to make everything a freaking competition?
Funniest? Molly.
He's a lot smarter than he looks, ladies and gentlemen.
He's a very smart man.
Well, he picked you, didn't he?
Yeah, there you go.
There we go.
Have you noticed that I'm parting my hair on the other side now?
The listener should know that our father is bald.
If anybody has a solution for baldness, let him know.
Any parting words you'd like to give to this vast, wide audience that we hold?
I just hope you continue doing these podcasts and that you have a lot of success with them.
Simplify.
There it is.
Word.
Well, there you have it. New fan favorite, Jack and Mary, a.k.a. the parental units. And, I mean, I really have nothing more to say about it. Terry, what do you have to say?
Well, there you are. There's a window into our lives and our psyche.
Yeah, it explains a lot.
Explains a lot, right?
But they are funny, funny peeps.
We love them. But if you have any funny parent stories or something similar where maybe your parents are impressed by something you do that you could probably do with your eyes closed, your hands tied behind your back, just share them with us
Please
on the
share.
old social media. And as always, we thank you for joining us. And until next time, deuces. Thanks for tuning in. Please subscribe to the Spinster Sisters podcast on Apple or Google Podcasts or Spotify. And please follow us on social media.
Where our Twitter handle is @SistersSpinster. You can also find us on Instagram @TheSistersSpinster and on Facebook @The Spinster Sisters Podcast. You can also email us at thespinstersisterspodcast@gmail.com. Bye.